Do you remember Halloween as a kid? What I remember about my Halloween was homemade costumes. One year, I think I was in, I want to say third grade. My dad made me this robot costume, and it was basically a tinfoil covered cardboard box. And I loved it. I loved it more than anything. Every October 31st, my brothers and I would race home from school. We'd shovel down our dinner and then we'd wait impatiently, costumes on, getting really hot inside because we lived in blustery New York. So we'd be all bundled up in layers under the costume until the streetlights would flicker on in the neighborhood. And then pandemonium as everyone ventured out to trick or treat. We'd have sacks full of candy. And I think a couple years in a row, I brought an extra pumpkin sack so that I would have more loot. And I'd always count my candy as I got home, hoping that I scored more than my brothers, hoarding that $100,000 bar. It's now called the 100 grand bar. Oh, those were the days. These days, most of us moms, we head to the internet to purchase some costume character that then gets shipped directly to our door. No needle and thread or tinfoil necessary. We don't have time. We don't have time or even the inclination to make from scratch Halloween costumes. From Cruella de Vil to Spider-Man to fairies, ninjas, morph creatures. There's a ready-made costume for every kid's desire. Today, we're also more health conscious about what our kids eat. And even on Halloween, organic, low sugar, no dyes, or artificial flavors or colors, gluten-free, all of this candy, it's become a $1 billion industry. And since I know that your kiddos are going to be getting their fair share of Halloween candy, organic or not, I'm going to focus this episode of the Cheeky Podcast on the meals that they'll be eating leading up to the big candy haul, the part of the day that you can actually have some control over. Today is all about serving up a Halloween smorgasbord that you'll feel good about. That all the candy that they'll be dragging in at the end of the night, it won't seem that bad. It won't seem as bad as it usually does anyway. This Halloween, you'll be fueling your kids up with healthy goodness that's festive and it tastes good all day long. It's your October 31st kid approved, but also Crohn's and colitis gut friendly healthy meal plan. From breakfast all the way to dessert. And whether your kids go trick-or-treating or not, you'll have everything you need to give them an extra special, spookalicious gastric experience they'll never forget. Halloween is right around the corner. Is your family prepared? Costume? Check. Pumpkins carved? Check. Meal plan fit to celebrate Halloween in style? Wah, wah. Don't sweat it. Don't sweat it, my friend, because after this episode, you will be set with my gut healthy Halloween meal deal, which includes scrumptious, kid tested breakfast, lunch, snacks, dinner, and dessert recipes all in one handy dandy recipe booklet. It's yours from me to you with love. Thanks for sharing this space with me because it's just a little bit of gratitude for you. To get your copy of my Halloween meal deal, go to KarynHaley.com/Halloween. That's KarynHaley.com/Halloween. A link will also be in the show notes to that in case you're driving or you're in a place right now where you just can't get to it right now. Let me just tell you, Karyn is spelled with a Y. So it's KarynHaley.com/Halloween. Now, if you can get your hands on my Gut Healthy Halloween meal plan now, I suggest that you go ahead and do it because I'm about to give you the 411 on these recipes with extra bonus tips to help you make these goodies extra special, extra gut healthy for you, extra tasty for your whole clan, These tips I'm about to share, I am sharing only on this episode. They're tips that I've learned from my experience making these recipes, tips that will save you time when you get started. So go ahead, pause the episode. I won't be offended, and you can get your Halloween recipe booklet downloaded. Remember, go to karynhaley.com/Halloween, and then come right back to the episode so that you can then take notes in your recipe booklet. You can do it right there in the booklet. Now, no worries if you can't download it right away. Just go ahead and make a mental note, or you can put some notes in your phone. You can always come back to it and download it later. All right, did you do it? Are you ready to move on? Okay, let's do this. Let's start by sharing some tips that you'll want to keep in mind with the first meal of the day in this recipe booklet, because it's breakfast. Breakfast is where your kids' Halloween festivities all begin. In this section, you'll notice 2 gut-loving, mom and kid-friendly smoothie recipes, the Green Goblin as well as Witch's Brew. When it comes to you, my dear mom friend, you'll want to know that both of these recipes are gluten-free, dairy-free, and for the most part, they're SCD legal. Now, I have to tell you, I will be mentioning the specific carbohydrate diet several times during the episode today. It is a diet that I talk about quite a bit on the podcast. In fact, one of the best episodes to listen to if you're curious about the specific carbohydrate diet and how it could help your Crohn's or colitis, how it could help your symptoms, it's episode 57. It's the one right before this. Go on, check it out when you're done with this one. I think that you will find it really helpful. That's episode 57. It's all about the SCD. Okay, so now that I said that, I want to say that for the most part, again, both of these smoothies are SCD legal. Now, if you are 100% SCD, you're going to want to skip the flax seeds that are in the Witch's Brew. But other than that, they are both SCD legal. Okay, now let's talk about your kiddos and these smoothie recipes. While their initial thought might be to skip the Green Goblin because it does have an avocado in it, and let's face it, a lot of kids say ick when it comes to avocados, and we know they don't know what they're missing, but I have to tell you that they'll never even taste it. The avocado blends so easily with the frozen banana and other ingredients. And so while the avocado does a great job of making this Halloween themed smoothie green, goblin green, it really doesn't taste like an avocado at all. It's the same thing with the addition of a carrot, which is in the Witch's Brew smoothie. It's not something that your kiddos will ever taste, but it's there just to give that smoothie some extra orange color in a completely natural and healthy way. And it does the trick. It's a very Halloween orange. You're going to love it. I also want to mention one more thing while we're still talking about the breakfast section of the recipe booklet. My pumpkin pancakes recipe, it calls for almond flour. Definitely, if you make this recipe, I want you to choose the finely ground almond flour as opposed to almond meal for this recipe. It really makes a difference with the consistency of the pancakes. Now, if you're not grain-free, and your kids aren't grain-free, I've also made this recipe. I make it all the time for my kiddos with gluten-free flour. And it turns out really good. So you can use the gluten-free flour. You can use it in a 1-to-1 ratio, the same as you would use the almond flour. In this recipe, of course, is either gluten or grain-free, depending on how you make it. And it is SCD legal if you use the organic pumpkin puree that I recommend in the recipe, and if you use SCD legal yogurt. And for an extra special kiddo treat, consider adding some Enjoy Life. That's the name of the brand, Enjoy Life dark chocolate mini chips to the recipe. There's just something about the combination of creamy pumpkin puree and dark chocolate chips. It's a delectable taste that I know your kids will love. Okay, let's move on and talk briefly about Halloween snacks because we all know snacks are important to our kids. So the snacks in my healthy Halloween meal deal, they do not disappoint. Of course, Mama, you are going to love these snacks because they're not just fun and creepy, they're also healthy. One of the snacks is called Don't Eat Me Nut Butter Apples. I got to say that again. Don't eat me nut butter apples. I highly encourage you to branch out from peanut butter in this recipe to either sun butter or maybe cashew butter even. They both pair really nicely with the green apples in the recipe. And of course, you can switch the green apples for red ones, whatever your kids like, whatever they like best. And when your kid is stuffing their crazy apple faces, and I know if you don't have the recipe in front of you, I'm sure that sounds a little strange, but once you see it, you'll know what I'm talking about. For the apple faces, let me say it that way. I highly recommend that you just let your kids go crazy here. Let them go crazy creating whatever face is fun for them. Remember, I always say it, if you want your kids to eat it, you've got to get them in the kitchen making it. And this is the perfect healthy treat for them to make themselves because then they'll definitely eat it. One more thing on snacks. There is a recipe in the booklet for banana chocolate loving ghosts. They're actually cute little bananas with chocolate ghost faces on them. The chocolate in this recipe, it's extra special because it's much better, much healthier than the chocolate you buy in your grocery store. The star ingredient is raw cacao powder. And this chocolate sauce, it isn't just for banana ghosts. You can make it and then store it in the refrigerator and use it as a topper for things like ice cream, pancakes, waffles, even as an add-on in the if you're making a chocolate flavored smoothie. Delicious. The chocolate sauce, it is definitely something that you'll want to keep on hand, even after the chocolate ghosts are gone. For your Halloween themed lunch, the kids and you, of course, are going to enjoy my recipe for scary Sammies. I think that they're more cute than scary, but these sandwiches, they really are fun to make. If you're adding in lunch meat to your sandwich, I highly recommend that you use fresh roasted turkey or chicken. Roasting a whole chicken or a whole turkey one day of the week, I do mine on Sundays, and then you just cut it up to use for sandwiches or salads during the week. It's really a great idea. It's much healthier than the ultra processed lunch meat that you get in the deli counter, and it's really the perfect filling for this particular sandwich. Whether you are grain-free or not, I have to say I highly recommend that you try this recipe with my grain-free sandwich rounds. They're a great alternative to the nutritionless, gut-disrupting white bread. And while you're baking the sandwich rounds, don't be surprised if your kids come in the kitchen, just like mine do, saying, "Who's making pizza?" Just an added olfactory bonus of this recipe. Okay, also for lunchtime, the hand in the hummus recipe, trust me, you have to see this one, it's your perfect accompaniment to those scary Sammies. It's a great dip for kids to get their veggies in during the day. And for you, mom friend, even if you're not eating raw vegetables right now, there's no law against you dipping cooked vegetables in hummus. Why not? Cooked carrots, any roasted vegetables, they all work with hummus. And to my SCD gal pals, there's no illegal chickpeas in this hummus recipe. It's completely SCD legal. So you're definitely going to want to check it out. Dinner is the most creative part of this healthy Halloween meal. We keep it fun and creative, yet fast, so that you can get to the Halloween goodness quickly. It's a feast with your mummy spider pizzas, the make your own kind. Make your own mummy spider pizzas. And by the time that this part of the day rolls around, you know the kids will be chomping at the bit to get in that costume and go trick-or-treating. You want a meal that's on the table fast, but it's also one that the kids will be excited to eat. When it comes to pizza, we know it's all about the crust. Thankfully, there are several store-bought crusts that will save you time in the kitchen, but also keep your gut healing mode going as well. My personal favorite for this recipe, for this crust, is from a company called Against the Grain. Against the Grain. Have you seen them before? I can find it in my regular grocery store, but I know it's become quite popular in recent years. It is though possible that it's something that you can't find in your own, but the good news is you can also order it online. There's a link to the product website in the recipe booklet. And by the way, for SCDers, Against the Grain, it's not SCD legal, I'm sorry to say, but of course you can make your own grain-free pizza crust with legal ingredients. So you don't have to miss out on this pizza dinner. Now, last but not least, I just have to include dessert. Of course, I had to include dessert in this recipe booklet. What's Halloween without dessert? But the beauty of this dessert is that it's so sneakily healthy that you won't mind your kids eating it on the trick-or-treat night. It's grain-free, gluten-free, refined sugar-free, SCD legal, but definitely not free of taste. It's my pumpkin spice cupcakes with salted honey frosting. Doesn't that sound good? What I love about this recipe for you, mama, especially, is that it makes a great morning muffin without the frosting. Super healthy, gut friendly, but also tasty. Whether you eat this in the morning or as a Halloween treat, you're definitely going to want to double this batch. This recipe also freezes really well. So double it, definitely doubles really well, and then freeze it as well. All you'll have to do when you're ready is take it out of the freezer and then just heat it up. And of course, if you're not grain-free, you can substitute gluten-free flour. No problem with this recipe. Again, 1-to-1. I've made it the gluten-free way for my kids, and it's also a hit. Okay, my dear, I am not going to make you wait any longer to get started with your recipes. I know that Halloween, it's just a matter of days away, and it's time to get that grocery list started. Remember, if you haven't done it already, if you haven't downloaded it, you still can. You can download my brand new hot off the press Gut Healthy Halloween Meal Deal recipe booklet. It's kid tested, but it's also mom approved for its gut healing recipes. And you can get it all at KarynHaley.com/Halloween, KarynHaley.com/Halloween. And remember, my mom had to be just a little bit different and spell my name with a Y. So it's KarynHaley. It's not that often, right? That food appeals to your kiddos. Also, it appeals to you. It also appeals to your kiddos. You are going to love these Halloween favorite recipes. Happy Halloween, my love. I want you to stay safe, stay healthy, have fun with your kiddos this Halloween, whether you're going trick-or-treating or not. You can have so much fun with your food, with your kids, with these foodie favorites that I'm sharing with you. It's definitely a resource to share as well. So if you know a mom who is looking for some healthy Halloween recipes, please share this link with her so that we can spread the Halloween love. Until we meet again, I'm wishing you a ghoulish and cheeky, full of tricks, not treats, gut healthy healing journey. Chat soon.